Hello, and welcome everyone to the Friday Night BS show. And look, we have a familiar face with us, joining us back again. Morgan. Morgan's been disappearing. She's been hiding. She's been hiding in Packerland, and she decided since the Packers lost, she can come out in the woodwork and show her face. And I was thinking, okay, Morgan's gonna be on the show. It's gonna be all green. She's gonna be wearing her Green Bay Packers hat and her Jordan Love jersey, and
Nope, nope. All I've got is my Aaron Jones jersey, and I was gutted when
yeah,
when he left. Now, granted, Josh Jacobs is, he's good. He's good, but it just
yeah,
Aaron Jones, and he's just such a, like a cool guy in general, just a great guy all around. So it's
yeah.
always kind of heartbreaking when like a fan favorite leaves,
Oh God, yeah.
but
Well,
so.
yeah. You guys went through it a couple times, with Aaron leaving, and then with
Yep.
who else left? The wide receiver left.
Devontae Adams, yeah.
Devontae Adams left before Aaron, I think, right? Yeah. So you guys had
Yeah,
to go
he
through.
did before, and then I'm trying to think who else is all
They're all
left
trainers.
since.
But now you're on the BS show. You're back on the BS show. I'm
That's
glad you're
right,
here.
that's right.
And we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. No Deana, no Bruce. Everybody keep Bruce in his prayers. Bruce had a knee surgery. He's doing well. He's being taken care of by his daughter. Good job, daughter. Yeah, don't screw your dad up, man. We need Brucey. I'm glad his surgery went well, and he should be back on the show next week. And who knows when he'll be back on the golf course and be back to his old ways. But we have weird news. Influencer claims she broke the world's record for having sex with most men in 12 hours. Look at the show you decided to jump in on tonight.
I know. So okay, I think I heard about this story. I don't remember if it was this one or a different one, but it was like something similar to that. I think what wasn't it over like 100 guys or something like that?
Yes, there was well, the one that owns the records in the UK, and then
Okay.
another one in the UK was trying to break the record. And this woman, what's her name? Blake. I think it's Bonnie Blue is her name, and
Okay.
she says she's broken the record. So there's a lot going on here, and you know, uh, it's a weird thing, maybe it's just I'm old, Morgan, but what happened to, like, the guys that or the gals that are, trying to break the record for being on the pogo stick too much, or beating a pogo stick record, or shoving, so many things in their mouths, or breaking a record, the good old fashioned
The
records,
good old days. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm the only one either. That's like, it's like
No, yeah.
what happened to kids that are, that tried to set those types of records? It's like, uh,
It
you know,
Yeah, it just disturbs me that it seems like kind of around my generation that it's like these are the records we're looking to break. It's like,
go
oh well,
go
gives me so
Gen
much
Z.
hope. I know, like I'm so hopeful. It just and it's like all I can kind of think of that, especially now that like I work within the medical field, the amount of just like germs, like disease,
Yeah,
like it just gives like it just makes
yeah,
my skin crawl. Honestly, it's like oh god,
yeah, yeah.
like oh
We're going to talk about you, Gen Zers and millennials tonight. Well, that is our weird news, the OnlyFans influencer. Her name is Bonnie Blue. We're going to get into that. The topics for tonight: products declining because millennials won't buy them, and this is one weird one. This is kind of weird because millennials, to me, are kind of they're well. Let's be honest. Millennials are children of Gen Xers, and
yeah,
you as we're a generation. I was a gen, not you. I was a generation that kind of bleeded a little bit of that Gen Xer in our children, and I
yeah,
see it in my kids. Some, especially for my oldest Frankie and JP, they can almost be Gen Xers just because of the stuff they like and enjoy
hmm
day to day as being what and now my daughter Hope is kind of becoming, it took her until getting to her late 20s, early 30s to start being more like me and more of a Gen Xer. But I'm
Yeah.
curious if they buy some of these things that or don't buy some of these things. Kim Jong-un orders divorced couples to labor camps under new laws. Well, China's not messing around. You marry, you stay
Mm.
together. You stay together.
It's like, ooh, it's like, okay.
Can you imagine if they did that here? I mean, if you got a
I
divorce,
mean, it would be, I mean, because now, like, with, like, the divorce rate being as, like, high as it is now, in the US, I
yeah,
just whew, I think a lot less people would opt to get would opt to
yeah,
get
yeah.
divorced.
Either that or the labor camps would be bigger than the prisons. Would be just overwhelmed with labor
Right,
camps.
right. Get to work.
Uh, We got 11 jobs with the highest divorce rates. That is an interesting little topic. A couple that I already kind of associated with divorce and troubled
I
marriage.
feel
You
ya.
know, your firemen, your policemen,
Please, yeah.
doctors. I was kind of used to those type of careers. Growing up, those were the people that seemed to always have troubles with
Right.
relationships or cheating. There are a lot of cheaters and a lot of doctors.
Yeah.
Doctors. I don't know what it is with
Okay,
doctors.
I've heard now granted, I don't have any firsthand, like, experience with it, but, like, the things you hear about these doctors and nurses or, like,
Yeah,
EMTs and the nurses and, like, all this I'm like, and there's, like, story of people, like, a doctor and a nurse, like, on break or whatever, like, going off or whatever, and then people, like, seeing them come back together or whatever.
scrubs all
It's
messed up.
it's like, what? Why? Like, I just that's so like, it's so, like
Yeah.
and so there's all these, like, reels and jokes that I see of, like, like, the veteran nurses telling, like, the new, like, grad,
Yeah.
nurses being like, "Avoid the 3 Ps," like, police, something, something, firefighters.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
avoid them all.
Well, it would probably be police, patients, and
And physicians, that's what it
physicians.
was. Yeah. It's
So,
like,
yeah,
"Oh
don't hit
god."
on the patients. Oh no, yeah, and Gen Z is losing this thing that humans have had for 5,500 years. We're going to get into that. I got a lot of stuff to talk about
I'm
tonight,
curious now.
but we're going to jump right into the weird newsy. Let me make sure newsy. John's making up words now. Hello, Art. I see you, and I see Frank and Instagram. You can't see Instagram.
Ooh,
For some
no.
reason. Uh, Instagram will allow us to stream
Mhm.
through StreamYard, but will not let us actually see their comments and stuff. I have to
Oh,
actually
that's
have
annoying.
it opened on a separate tab. But they allow us to stream to it, but not
Hmm,
see the comments in the regular chat, which kind of sucks. But I see
that's
Frank and I see
annoying.
Art out there. Welcome, guys. Welcome everybody on the IG side. I will make sure to acknowledge you guys sometimes. It's hard. I completely sometimes forget that it's there, Morgan. It's
I didn't know
horrible.
they could do that now. When did that start?
It's been that way for a while. I don't
Oh,
know
really?
why. Instagram. If you're going to allow us to stream through the app using
Right.
StreamYard, you might as well let us see the chat in our
Yeah.
chat. So,
It's the
but
whole point of
unfortunately, you can't.
streaming.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I have to have a tab open, and the only way
Mm,
I can actually see that what's going on there is having that tab open, and then sharing it with you guys the way I just did. So that's the
mm,
only way. That is the only
hmm.
way. Let's
Okay.
get right into Miss Bonnie Blue. Let me make sure I get that right one open. That's the Newsweek article. We want the
I wonder if this is who I'm thinking of because I know that,
hey,
like,
you
I
made
heard
it.
about this and I was like,
Yeah, you made it when you made it to Newsweek. When
right,
you made it to
right.
Newsweek, you officially
You've
made it,
peaked.
girl.
You've
Hey,
peaked.
Dad. No, oh no, no, don't worry about the 1,000 guys. I made it. I'm on Newsweek.
I
Let's
just
see.
I just cannot imagine. Like, I look. I mean, I can see, like, okay, if there's already like a record for it or whatever, like okay, fine, whatever. But like the like, I could just imagine after a while, wouldn't it just be the most, like, it would just ruin sex, though, forever, like, wouldn't it? Like, I just feel like it would just completely ruin
Yeah,
like,
no,
why would
yeah,
you
yeah.
do that to yourself?
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
we
know.
talked about it on the show, and it's just like these are younger people that are making tons and tons of money on Instagram, on OnlyFans, and selling their bodies and pictures and all this stuff, and it's just you figure you're so young and you have so much more left of your life. Are you
Right.
willing to deal with all those consequences? Everything, like the old saying, everything you do has consequences.
Mhm.
And I wonder, are you willing to be remembered this way?
With
You
that,
know,
yeah.
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 Not the is it better to be known as the young 25-year-old mom, with two kids and a house and a career, or do you want to
Mhm.
be known, in your 40s as,
The woman who
Bonnie
slept with
Blue, the
1,000
woman that
people.
slept with 1,057 men in 12 hours?
Like,
I don't know. I
no.
mean, I ask you. I mean, it is them. Do you feel like your generation, Gen Z, that it's more important to have $1 million in the bank than to be, but having to go through it to get it this way?
I
Is
yeah,
it
I
worth?
think yeah, I think my generation as a whole just, I well, and see, like, the thing is that, like, sometimes I think it applies to the younger Gen Zs, because 'cause I'm kind of on, like, the, like, older
You're on the
end of, like, the
cuff.
Gen
Yeah.
Z. Yeah, kind of just, like, barely,
Mhm.
like, bordering.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
you were Gen Z, pretty much has been the generation, actually the first generation to be born with electronics. I mean,
yeah,
everything.
yep.
So,
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where, like, I think my generation in general just wants, I think, like, having the money, and I guess sort of the, like, Instagram or TikTok, or,
yeah, yeah.
like social media fame is
Fame, yeah.
more important than necessarily the consequences that may be faced, like, later from it, because
Yeah,
because I think like, "Oh, well, if I make like, a name for myself now, then I think that it'll just carry through,"
your
you know
entire existence, yeah.
well, right, because I mean, like, you see all these, like, influencers, kind of, like, branching out, like, there's one guy, and I'm gonna forget his name, but he's, like, the lumberjack guy. And, before I just, like, saw, like, on, like, just reels from Instagram. Well,
Yeah.
now I've seen he's on, like, the Wayfair commercials, on, like, and so it's kinda like, okay, it's like, well, he does, like, product
Yeah,
advertisements, he's got his own, like, separate, like, business going from that, and so,
yeah,
like, it's kinda one of those things where I think my generation looks at that and is like, "Well,
yeah,
that's how I wanna,
yeah,
earn my living, by
yeah,
making a name for myself, and then, you know,
yeah. Well, you
by
got like
whatever means
Mr.
necessary."
Beats, or Beats, Mr. Beats,
Oh,
Beast?
yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
Oh,
Beast, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
Mr.
mean, he's a
Beast, yeah.
perfect example. I mean, that's yeah, where everybody, that generation, that's the number one thing. When asked, it's amazing when you ask Gen Z that question, what do they want to become when they get older? Influencer was the number one. It wasn't, my generation where it
Mhm.
was, a firefighter, a police officer.
Right.
That was the normal response from someone my age, when we were teenagers. Like, what do you want to be when
Yeah.
you grow up? And, or when you're a child, a preteen, adolescent. That's the word I'm looking for. An adolescent. Most of those kids were like, "Hey, I want to be a fireman." I was. I want to be a fireman. I want to be
Mhm.
an astronaut. All these things came up, and it
Yeah.
wasn't, "Hey, I want to be a social media influencer." Where that's number one today, and it's just like, okay,
It's crazy,
it
it's
makes me
like
laugh because it's like, the colleges are going to have to jump on board eventually, because they're going to be like, well, we have social media influencer classes now.
well, yeah, I mean, it's well, and it's so weird to me because it's like one of those things where it's like I see like the other side of it too, where it's like these influencers, maybe if things aren't like going well or
Yeah.
whatever, like there's at times where it's like they'll create so much drama around themselves to get the attention when the initial is kind of starting to like drop off. And it's one of those things where it's like then they become miserable.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so, like, just,
It's
you know
weird too because you're the generation, uh, and I want to say it kind of started a little bit late into millennials, but
yeah.
with all of a sudden all these things started becoming key things that teenagers had. Anxiety, for instance, all of a sudden
Mhm.
all these kids were on AAHAD or whatever medicine. Oh, they were just feeding
Yeah.
it to these kids, and you got this whole generation that they just can't seem to. And I'm not saying all Gen Zers, but just seem to
Yeah.
can't be able to function without medicine. You know,
That
and
or,
yeah,
there's also, like, notes about how there's a rising, use of, pot
yeah,
amongst, Gen Zs, and I think a
yeah.
lot of it, like, honestly, is, like, one of those things where, this generation can't handle the real world. So
The
they
real
turn to
world.
other stuff to, numb or, whatever, to not
Yeah,
have to like deal with it. And it's like,
yeah,
no, 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 no.
yeah.
This
No,
isn't
no,
how it
yeah.
works. But
Got over on Instagram, Mr. Art. As an older millennial, I approve it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Growing up, I always wanted to be a gangster. I doubt that you said gangster, Alex, or Art. I'm sorry, Art. I don't think no one said I wanted to be maybe early, like, yeah, I want to be a gangster. Maybe I said that as well. Being an Italian and being in a, and seeing
the
mafia films,
mafia.
but I don't think I was like, yeah, I want to grow up and be a gangster, man. I don't know.
I mean, I was like
It's
5 and I wanted to be a spy. I was
yeah,
obsessed with Spy Kids, and I was like, I want to be a spy.
yeah. Well, I mean, to bring up something like even Kevin has talked about on the show before, and one of the things we talked about is the fact that he feels that eventually down the road, we're not, he's not saying a specific date or time, but
Yeah.
it'll become socially acceptable that, you were someone on OnlyFans that, sold
Oh,
pictures and nudity,
probably. Oh
you
yeah.
know, and it won't be the stigma associated with being someone that had made a lot of money on OnlyFans.
Right.
God, I hope it doesn't because and I joked with him because I said, fuck, can you imagine that, the scrutiny that is applied to, US Senate and House and the
Yeah.
president. Can you imagine that, like, that's become such a social norm that we eventually will have a president, someone running for president, that
Right.
has, yeah, has
History
this
of our OnlyFans.
huge media following on OnlyFans. It's like, yeah,
It's kinda
what
scary,
are your
yeah. You're like,
accomplishments? Yeah.
"Ooh,
Oh, I had 6.8 million followers on OnlyFans. I made, astronomical
millions of
amounts of money,
dollars." Yeah,
you know, so I qualify for being U.S. president. And I'm like, oh God, I hope that doesn't happen.
yeah,
But I mean, again, I get where Kevin's going with it. I think,
yeah,
the standards of what a society is based on being a civil and grounded a society. I think eventually that, that's just going to become that socially acceptable thing.
yeah.
I don't think it will happen anytime during my lifetime, and I'm 56. So if I go by the standard of living, I'm going
Right.
82, or, that's 30 years down. So 30 plus years down the road, do I feel we'll get there? I don't know, man, because I still think like your generation still has some morals and standards that,
Yeah,
even though this has become somewhat normal to be on social media, I think your generation is smart enough to know that I don't think I want that fucking person in power.
Well, and it's and it's so weird because it's like it's now like one of those things where in my job I talk to people of all different ages, and
Yeah,
it's just very interesting to me, like the 18, 19, 20, the
yeah,
younger, um, later teens and early 20s that like I talk to, and it's like they just have like no clue. Now, granted, there's a lot of days where even I feel like I don't have a clue,
yeah, yeah,
just about about anything either.
yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm just like, y'all are just so like still. I mean, like there's things that even like my 13-year-old brother knows that I sure as hell didn't like know about necessarily, and he's just like he just knows now, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's kind of like creepy that like
Oh no,
these
no. I'm
kids
with
know so
I'm
much.
with you 100% because he's basically the same age as Aiden,
Yeah,
my oldest grandson. So, and when he talks and I hear what he knows at 13,
you're like, what?
and I'm like, whoa, whoa,
Slow down.
slow down, buddy. Because I only have myself and my two brothers to think of. It's like I get it. If I
Yeah.
needed to learn something, I was you either had your parents,
Mhm.
your teacher, television, or outdated encyclopedia. I mean, outdated encyclopedia, and then
Right.
your friends. So you had
Yeah.
that's your social. And today, the 13-year-old has just just the numbers are extraordinary. I mean, it's just he has social media, he has
Yep.
his friends, he has people he doesn't know, he has Facebook, he has Instagram, he has Snapchat, he has all these things that
Mhm.
and the sad part of it all to me uh, uh, is that information viable? Is it true?
Right.
Is it that's the thing, and one of the things I joke about a lot of times, and art is out there, but at work, when someone says they start to talk about something that they saw on the news, the first
Mhm.
thing I ask is, did you get this from TikTok or did you get this from an actual news source? Because
Right.
there's two different fucking things right there. I,
Very, very different, very
yeah,
different in terms of, the veracity of the
yeah,
information
yeah.
being but yeah, it's just crazy, and, I so I'm kinda curious, how old is this Bonnie Blue?
All right, we'll get right into it. Controversial OnlyFans star Bonnie Blue claims she has shattered. She didn't break it,
She's
Morgan.
shattered.
Shattered it. She shattered. Yeah,
Ooh,
she shattered a lot of things. Shattered a world record by engaging in 1,057 men in 12 hours, igniting a storm of debates and disbelief. Her bold assessment, which challenges the long-standing boundaries, has left many questions in ethics and implications for such a feat. Yes, and yes, I think you know it's funny now that I see that that last sentence. Now it's questioning ethics and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so up until when she was talking about it, it was cool, but now that she did it,
did it, now it's all of a sudden
now it's
there's
like,
a
oh,
problem.
yeah, it's a problem. It's like, well, wait a minute. If maybe someone had talked to her before
I
that,
said, "No, don't do that.
yeah, don't
That's a
do that.
bad
Like a
idea."
boyfriend, Yeah, I love you, and
A
but
father, maybe a father,
a father? What are you
brother, something
crazy?
like,
A father?
well,
No, I'm kidding.
I'd
I'm
also like to know
kidding.
who her parents are. Like,
Oh yeah.
what the hell?
Bonnie Blue, a controversial figure on OnlyFans, claims that she has broken the world record for the most sexual partners in a single day, citing the staggering 1,057 men over 12 hours. The previous record was set by Lisa Sparks with 919 men, has stood for nearly 2 decades. Bonnie, known for her polarizing public persona, has openly expressed her ambition to surpass this milestone. Yes, I'm sure she
The
was.
ambition. She had the it's like again, like most people say when they have like ambitions for things, like my ambitions are to like maybe get married one day,
Yeah,
maybe get a
yeah.
house, start a family,
Screw
like
that
do all
shit,
that stuff.
Morgan.
But
Get
it's
that.
like, but
Fuck
no, no, no,
that.
no, no. Maybe I should rethink.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
no,
just
yeah,
that's
you're gonna
wild
have
to
to
me.
rethink everything that you have learned from your father and your mother. You just throw that shit out the window
Sorry,
because
mom. Sorry, dad. That's all
you,
useless information to
yeah,
me now.
you don't know nothing. That's the old ways. That's the one I hate. That's the old ways. Well, the old ways is
Well, hey.
many years. The alleged event, it says the event reportedly took place in London, of course, in London, where Bonnie invited participants, as she describes as this is where
I'm
I get
scared.
why she's using these words. She's got, it's gotten to that point. Like, oh man, there's and I understand. This is difficult for me to get this out, but I understand because I have signed up for OnlyFans and I wanted to follow one person on there for this show.
Yeah,
And I wanted to follow their production. They're the from going from nobody to somebody on. Hopefully, I picked
yeah,
the right one. Just kind of follow their career through there. And there's so many people on there. It's insane. Like I'm scrolling through profiles trying to find one, and yet I'm also trying to find one that isn't popular yet because I want to see her
right.
progression. I want to see if she progresses through OnlyFans and becomes,
Yeah,
so to me, it's like you have these women that are on here and men too. There's men on there
yeah,
that have become today's used car salesmen. Trying to sell themselves. What makes the difference? And guys, believe me, people that are out there like myself trying to decide on who to follow on there. We're looking for certain things, I'm looking
yeah,
like me. I'm looking for somebody that isn't popular, but I feel it's going to grow. And
yeah.
but there are, you got guys and gals that are out there that are looking for something creepy, something not creepy, this
Right.
fetish, that fetish, does she,
Yeah.
do this, does she do that, I feel like they've become, yesterday's used car salesman, like trying to sell
That's so
themselves.
sad. Which is like it's so like 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 using that analogy just sounds so sad,
That's how I
so
look at it.
depressing.
I look at it that way, and it's just like, obviously you can't check off all the boxes because then you're just way too weird, even for OnlyFans. It's
Right.
like, oh yeah, look, I do this, that, it's just like that's way
You're
too
like,
much. So you have
okay.
to, yeah, you have to kind of figure
You
out
gotta
what.
dial it down a bit. You
Yeah,
gotta
you
dial
can
it down.
dial it down and kind of figure out, okay, what's
Find your
hot, what's
niche.
not, like, okay, what are, feet are in. So let's do feet pictures. Let's, this is in, let's do that, So it's just like you become like, you know, a used car salesman and you're trying to figure out, what this customer is looking for. Does he need a minivan or does he need a two-door sports car? It's just like trying to figure that out. Oh my
Oh
god.
man.
So it sounds like there's some controversy to this her breaking this record. So I'm not sure if she has actually because the girl that we were covering to break this record was another woman, and she got a lot. I think this Bonnie woman here, I think got a little upset by the attention that she was getting on trying to beat this record. And I forgot the other girl's name, but she did she did a couple practice runs. Uh, Morgan and
Okay.
yeah, yeah. She did a couple practice runs a couple weeks ago where she slept with 100, and she had to stop because she felt robotic.
Oh, that was the no, okay. So that was the one I had heard about before
Yeah,
because yeah,
yeah,
because and wasn't it like her mom and brother were like trying to like help her out with
yeah.
it and some really
The
messed
mother
up
takes care of
thing.
the money. Yeah, the mother is her
Yes,
financial
yes,
advisor. Yeah. Hey,
yes. Okay,
mom.
that was the one I was thinking of because I was like, I swear I've heard something like this
Yeah,
before.
that's
Well,
a
no
weird
shit,
dinner
it's gonna feel
conversation.
robotic. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and it's and, like, you're gonna be, like, I mean, or at least I would think, like, devoid of all human emotion, like,
Yep.
what, like, because
Zero.
you're just like,
Well,
why? Like,
yeah, well, that's what we
for
said.
what?
It's like, what did she expect? You know, that each guy was gonna come in and ask her how her day is, and, what are you doing today, hon? What did you yeah,
I
you
mean,
know?
clearly it didn't take very long if, it was,
Yeah, I mean, well,
in this case, over 1,000. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
That's what I was like, when she came out and, she posted that little video of her crying and, she didn't just, stating that she felt robotic and just, didn't feel right. And I'm like, and just like Bruce pointed out, you still have 900 more to go, baby. It's just, you're going to be, if you feel robotic at 100, think about it. It's not like you got 10 more to go, Morgan, or
I
15. No, you got 900 more to go.
I mean, even at 100, it's like, holy shit, like, what? Like, I was, like, trying to think, like, okay, like, what, like, do they just have these guys, like, lined up in a hallway? Like, what,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is like,
Oh, yeah. No, they
how
get
is this
into the
process
logistics.
happening?
Yeah, they go all into the logistics of the whole thing and how she did it, and how, because that's the thing that the second girl, the one that was talking about it before this one broke the record, but
Yeah.
that was her concern, was the logistics of it, how they were going to do it, and she had real. Here we go. This is where the show gets good. She had realized that some guys can't be ready, if you know what I mean, when that time comes. So she realized she had to have fluffers, so she had
Oh
four
my
girls in there
god.
getting the guys ready for when they came in. So because she realized she was wasting time waiting for the guy. Well,
Well,
I
that's what
said,
I'm thinking, like, okay, 12 hours, like, you know
you got this,
over
guys.
1,000, like,
Can
what?
you keep this up for 25 minutes? What? 25 minutes?
We ain't got time for that. Oh my god.
No. Well,
And
that,
then
yeah,
you think, okay, what about eating? What about, like,
yeah.
going to the bathroom? Like,
Hey,
what, like,
this is the reason straws were invented. This is the reason straws were
yeah, straight
invented.
to the mouth and then
That's right. You don't have to
catheter.
get out. Just fucking
Oh,
mash them together like we did when we were kids, work them back up
my
to the
god.
table. And it's just right there,
Ooh.
you know. Let's see here. Where was he? Oh, yeah. It says the event reportedly took place in London where Bonnie invited participants that she described barely legal and barely breathing. Okay. Is that
What?
barely
Barely
legal?
breathing?
Yeah, exactly. Were you looking for homeless people or what?
What?
You did not have enough in your circle of friends? Do you had to go out to the homeless or what's going on there?
What do you mean barely if someone's barely breathing, then
Yeah,
how,
barely breathing.
how are they participating?
That's what I said. Did she go to the morgue or what? Did she just have her friends go out and dig out bodies or what? I mean, barely breathing. I mean,
That's nice. That's hot.
and I feel bad for myself that I automatically went to homeless people when the word barely breathing came to mind. But I'm sorry that there's only two
But, like,
types of people that are barely breathing to me. That's somebody in the hospital or someone out on
eh,
the streets.
right, what the hell?
I don't know, man. But
Like, okay, well, that's just messed up. I mean,
yeah,
really, the whole thing's messed up, but that
yeah.
part is also really messed
Yeah,
up.
in videos shared on her TikTok account, she detailed how the day unfolded, providing explicit commentary and logistics. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sure she
good.
did. It says click here to read more, so I guess I'll do that. In one clip, she says, "This
Oh,
this is what my face." I'm going to try to read this without laughing. In one clip, this is what my face looks like after taking 1,000 men less than 12 hours. I don't know if I want to see your face after a
I
thousand men.
I don't think I would either, but I can't imagine it's like a happy face or like whatever, like
Hey, I better see some sweat, damn it. That's all I'm saying. You better be sweating.
sweat, red face, just the whole that
Uh,
oh. I just
Describing the process further, she explains we started with GGBGSs. I have no idea.
what
I'm gonna. That is the.
start googling stuff.
It's an acronym for something, and I like I always said I always fear looking up acronyms, because I don't want it in my
I'd be
Google
scared.
history. But I will look up what a
Sean,
GGBGS is.
do the
You know it?
in no, but I was gonna say, but before you search, turn on the incognito mode.
Incognito mode. Uh, oh, no, no, no.
I'm
GGBS.
scared to see to hear what you find.
Operating, I don't know. It reduces consumptions and it has something to do with chemicals, but I know it's got to be something in urban. Oh, slang.
Yeah.
Ground grating blast furnace slang is like a hydrant binder forming calcium. Yeah, see, I don't. It must be something else. I think I have to do it in slang. Those of you out in IG world, if you know what that means, let us know. But
Leave a
yes,
comment.
we started with GGBGSs, moving into the groups of 5, eventually transitioning to one-on-one sessions. It was like a rotating circle. Oh God.
Wait, so they're all just like all in like the room in a circle
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
So
just
now it can't be the same guy. So it has to be, yeah, because
right
it
a
counts
different
as
yeah
one.
yeah. So all these different guys,
Mhm.
are in a circle. I'm assuming there's like a bed there or
Yeah, yeah.
something.
And then that guy's done. He leaves, and then another guy gets in the circle and it just keeps going around. So
Okay.
much for
Oh,
Bonnie's public
okay.
reaction team, her reaction team, her
Okay.
I'm sorry here. Bonnie's
A
public
re
relations team later confirmed the number, stating she slept with 1,057 people. As she hit the 1,000, there were still the lucky 57 that were still in the break room waiting for their shot. So she said, fuck it. Let's just do the 57 more, So
What?
she yeah, she felt bad for the 57 because they weren't going to get any because they beat the record. So she just said, "Screw it, bring in the 57 to ensure everyone got their turn before the end of the day." What a kind soul!
I
What a
know. What
kind,
a
kind girl!
oh my
What a kind,
god.
kind. Number
What a
57.
lovely woman.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, imagine being
yeah. As
lucky
my
number
generation, yeah.
1057.
Yeah, as my generation says, she has a heart of gold. She has a heart of gold.
That just that just that like get like that makes my skin crawl, and yet I just want to be like I want to look
Yeah.
at her and just kind of give her a hug and be like everything's good. Like
Oh, I'm not touching her.
everything's gonna be
Oh, I'm not
okay.
touching her. No,
Okay,
no,
maybe
not
like an
after
air hug.
that.
Okay,
Air hug. There you
air
go.
hug, and be like everything's gonna be okay. Like you've got to
Yeah,
have like some kind of like past trauma in your life to be
yeah,
okay with like doing this.
yeah.
Like,
And or even like I I I know like they talk about like runner's high. I don't know if you know what a runner's high
oh
is.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
mhm.
So is there is that do they have that for sleeping with 1,000 plus where you just you're focused, you just shut it off. Like I've like I when I ran every day, I couldn't wait. Sometimes it would happen in that first mile. Sometimes it would happen to me in that, half a mile in or a quarter mile
Really?
in, where it's just boom, it's gone. Like all the stress is gone, everything is gone. And I see the road, but like I see nothing else. And my body's just run. And
Yeah,
maybe
but
that happens at, like number 400 for her.
I guess maybe it would have to at some point because
Yeah.
I don't know how like what and and again she even said like these guys weren't like the healthiest of guys, they're
Yeah.
barely breathing. So
Yeah.
it's like
Brand. Yeah.
what
Those are
the
the
first
homeless
it's like
guys. They were the homeless guys.
it's like what
Hey, I
you
know
couldn't
you guys aren't
find
doing nothing
anybody
out
that
here.
is healthy and just like
Yeah, yeah. I think from her maybe she may need to. rethink her public relations team just adding that word. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, like I'm reading all this. Yeah, I'm kind of grossed out by the number and all this other stuff. But like reading barely breathing. What the fuck
It's
do
like,
you mean by barely breathing?
like
I
we're
want to know.
verging on the edge of,
Yeah, yeah.
something
I
not
mean,
like really not good.
yeah. I mean, I'm grossed out by all the other shit, but like, what the and barely legal, which is another one that's just
It's
kind of like, okay, what does
like
that mean? Like,
underage? Like what?
yeah, yeah,
Like barely
barely,
of
yeah,
legal
yeah. Well, that,
age? Like
yeah,
what are we
that's
talking about here?
yeah.
Barely legal.
Yeah, so, like, it's like what, the guy in the circle was 5 minutes away from being 18 or whatever the
Age of
consent
consent is there?
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that was the weird one too. I did that the other day. I was just kinda messing around because somebody was talking about it and, how the age of consent is different in depending where you are in the United States, and I started
yeah.
looking at it, and, there's a chart thing that came up, and it shows you, like, where how old you have to be in these states for
Hmm.
consent, and I'm like, 16? There was a lot of
Like,
states where and it was funny because it was all the middle states. It was,
oh
like, from
really?
top to bottom, right down the middle, we're all 16,
Wow.
16, 17, where, like, California, 18,
Yeah.
of course, Utah was low too, 16, 17 in Utah, they don't give a shit there.
We won't go. I was gonna say we won't go
Yeah,
there. We won't go
you
there.
Mormon and 16, you're married by now. You should be married by now.
Right. Right. You're not your own
Uh
maid.
the claims, if accurate, implies each encounter lasted under a minute, given there are only 720 minutes in the 12 hours. Into this, yeah, there's 720 minutes in a 12-hour period.
I can see
This
why they wouldn't need
details
fluffers.
sarcasm and criticism across social media. No, you think she got a little criticism? And yeah, social media. Um, how do I put this? It could be nice to you and it could destroy you. And just it
Yeah.
just depends on that person that during that day. You think you can write something that sounds great and it's safe, but yet there's always going to be that one person out there that's going to rip your post apart or rip your picture apart. And for me, I'm like, you have the what do we call them? Let's say the Bible thumpers of the internet. They still exist. They still exist.
Right.
So I can see where someone that comes across this on X and goes, "What? Are you kidding me?" And then just tries to be that counselor, that adult counselor that person should have had when they were like in 12 or 13, but it's a little too late when they're in the
A
30s.
lot earlier.
Where were you when I was 12? Damn it! Where were you when you should have got me straight? But yeah, so yeah, you assume you're going to get some. You're probably going to get people that are like, "Yeah, good for you, girl. You made blah 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 money. You made
Right.
the because she's going to put this on her OnlyFans, and I I don't know why anybody would want to watch that. To be honest with you, I mean, who wants to watch this circle we talked about?
I guess voyeurs, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Like
Hey,
that's just.
what are
I
you hoping to
mean,
see somebody you know? What the fuck?
I don't know. That's like the best. That's like the best guess I got. Like I don't know what. And and again, like she says these people are barely legal and barely breathing. It's like okay, I like what. Like again, why would you want to watch that part of it too? I mean, forget the
Yeah,
fact that it's like that many people, but just again, these people are
yeah,
supposedly barely
yeah,
legal and barely breathing. It's like, well, that's bordering on some very, very
yeah. I
concerning
mean,
things right there. Like,
I to me that, and hey, I mean, whatever your cup of tea is, but for me, that's no longer porn. Like I wouldn't ask someone. I don't know if I would consider that porn. I mean, yes, it is porn, but
I
it's
mean, you
like
can say she
way
posted
beyond.
it on the internet, yeah, but that
Yeah,
just like, I just feel like she, I mean, she maybe
I'd
wouldn't
rather
like
see the
admit it
pizza guy
publicly.
story again than this. You know what I mean? I'd rather hear the door knock. pizza. Da, 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 da. I'd rather see that, or the guy that comes to fix the pool or the plumbing, than see
Right.
1,000 guys.
It's like one of those
Who
things where it's like, I
watches the
can't
whole
imagine
thing,
this.
Morgan? I got to know what number 1,000 was.
Oh god, I can't. I can't. It just like it made like oh, it just grosses me out. Like I just
It's it's a gross number. That's the
oh
thing. It's not no longer from the
no.
beginning. It's not romantic. Let's take romance out of it.
Oh,
That's
nothing
all.
about this
Yeah,
at
nothing about
all.
this is romantic. You know,
No.
so now and then you have, is it porn? And yes, it is porn, but I
I
think it's like
guess, yeah.
extreme porn now. It's not jokingly, the plumber, the pizza guy, the pool guy, those stories. That's, blah, blah, blah,
No,
blah.
that's
And let's be honest, there's a reason. All right, guys, oh, hey, man, I'm good for like 2 hours. Blah, blah. There's a reason that Pornhub's clips are like 3 minutes long, guys. There's a reason for that. So don't be macho, man. Don't lie. I'm good for like 25 minutes. Man. No, if you were good for 25 minutes, the average video length on Pornhub would be 25 minutes, not 3 minutes or a 1 minute, 99 seconds. There's a reason for this, guys. So to me, I'm thinking, again, I'm going to use their math, Morgan. To get to that number, it would, in a 12-hour period, that's 720
under a
minutes.
minute.
That's 12 hours.
Can you imagine the self-loathing that she
Yeah.
must experience
Yeah.
to a degree?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
I
think,
mean,
I think after like
you've
100, I don't
got
think she
to
was feeling anything, no, Morgan. From her waist down, I don't think she was feeling anything.
no, probably not. Like, I just how? Like
Did her
like,
PR check
just
sizes? That's
ooh,
what I want to know. Did they check sizes? It's like, oh, no, 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 no,
I
no.
doubt it. I
You have to
doubt
go
it.
first. That's too big. I'm sorry. You either go first or last. Which one do you want?
You know, honestly, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet I doubt they did.
Yeah.
I just oh,
It's nuts.
ugh.
It says one commenter what? Wrote, "How embarrassing! Sad that men would want to do that too." And that's true. Like, we didn't
I
even think
mean,
we haven't even discussed that part of it, because that to me is weird too as well. Like,
yeah,
do
very.
not just her, but you have to think, how about those 1,057 guys? What's going on in their head that they want to be part of this? This is
Right.
not, this is not, the Boston Marathon. This is not, I'm trying to think of something else that takes a long time to finish, but this isn't like something,
Well, well, these guys evidently didn't take it
you
didn't
know,
take very long though.
I just,
Oh my
I don't,
god.
I can't think of that, so for me, I got to put it in those terms. It's like, to me, I think we are. I'm not trying to be a sexist here, but I think we do kind of have to look at. We'll get into that too, because I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's a big deal. Because let's not pretend that they're getting away with this, because
Oh
there's
no, not at all. I mean that just again, it's like these guys knew like going into it, you know, I just oh my gosh,
I forgot to
it
put the
just
little banner thing up there. Now, not like everyone didn't know what we were talking about there, Morgan.
I was gonna say, in case you're just joining,
What did your face look like? I don't know.
I
Uh,
I can't
what,
imagine it's a happy expression. I
yeah,
don't like, you know, but even all these guys, it's like, why? Just why? Like, you
yeah,
must be so desperate,
yeah,
so
yeah.
desperate, beyond belief desperate. Just,
I,
it's like,
that, yeah,
no.
we talked about that too on a past show. It's like, I was just kidding, but I was like, well, I hope she gave some virgins a shot. But then, like Bruce pointed out, how do you know a guy's a virgin? You can't. So you got to go with what he
Right.
said. And guys have been known to lie before, just to get a shot.
Well, yeah, but then like that brings in the barely legal thing into it
Maybe that's
though.
it. Yeah, barely legal.
Maybe.
Well, she's been
Oh.
known for doing things like this at college campuses. So she has been banned. Yeah. She'll go to college parties and sleep with a bunch of men
Oh my
and
lord.
then post that on her OnlyFans. So she's been known to do this. She's been involved in a couple things. We're going to get into that too as well. Bonnie's PR
Mm.
team has announced that there is video proof. Morgan, woohoo!
I ain't watching.
We live in the era of proof. We need proof. You know,
Right.
uh, need proof.
This is how you
The
submit it to Guinness Book of World Record.
Can you imagine the poor Guinness Book of World Record guy that had to stand there and watch that for 12 hours? Oh, what number are you getting? They just have signs. They just have, like the marathon runners. They just
Yeah,
number
yeah, just put the rubber
47.
tags. Yeah.
Their
Oh
name under
god.
their number.
That's
Oh
fantastic.
man, released on her adult content platform, of course. A documentary crew was present to film the upcoming project. What
Oh
kind of? Yeah,
god.
I can't wait for that to come out on Netflix, Morgan.
Hey, I mean, they make documentaries about stuff, and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
like
uh,
that was a choice. All right. So,
you, you know,
it would not surprise me if in a couple of years Netflix comes out with some kind of documentary.
yeah.
It would
Yeah,
not shock me.
I wouldn't be surprised if eventually here down the road that Netflix has Netflix After Dark. Like they're
Oh yeah.
pouring, yeah. I mean, that's almost seems like where Netflix is heading. I mean, total complete media control of
Yeah.
everything. Uh, did I ever think when I signed up for Netflix that I would eventually be watching a boxing match on there? No. Did I ever think I would be watching a sitcom on there? Let's go even further back. Did I ever think that
Mhm.
sitcoms would be part of Netflix? Now it's
Right.
sitcoms, and look what they just added. Monday Night Raw is on fucking Netflix.
Oh, is
Monday
it
Night
now?
Raw, yeah. So
Shit.
it's just like I can see
Them taking over.
I wouldn't say within the first 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe less. I don't know. But, Netflix After
Mhm.
Dark, where you can, as a parent, can go from this special
Mhm.
account to go see all that stuff and
Well,
goodbye.
because yeah, I mean, yeah, because they have the separate stuff for, just, for like regular viewership and then and the separate
Uh,
one for kids.
yep. I
Or at
can
least
see
not
it
with
happening.
Netflix, but maybe it's like the other ones though that do it. But like, I mean, could totally see Net,
Yeah.
Netflix doing that though.
Yeah, I can see it. Bonnie reportedly earning a $600,000 monthly from OnlyFans and boasting her net worth to approximately $3 million. I'm going to do it like Austin, Dr. Evil. 3 million. That's not a lot of money. No, I'm kidding. Previously
Depends on who you're
working in
asking, I guess.
interview with GB News, which I'm assuming is in the UK, she
Yeah.
discussed her career shift. Oh, yeah. So I used to work in an office. I used to work in an office job, 9 to 5, with 20 days of annual leave. When are you getting 20 days of annual leave? Damn UK. I wanted more from my life and decided not to care about people's judgment. You have to kind of just throw
I
it
mean,
out
yeah, but she goes, "I wanted more from my life." That
there.
was the more? That
That was
was
more.
that was the more?
It's
Like,
not it's not just the more, it's the easy road. Let's be honest. She took the easy road. Somewhat. I don't
I
think when
mean,
she I don't think when she decided to leave work that she was planning on sleeping with 1,057 men.
probably not, no,
Probably not.
but I mean, but it's like, if she "I wanted more from my life,"
Yeah.
and it's like, here's where you are, like, what
Yeah.
that like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
to
We've
each
already
their
heard
own.
some really, and look, man, I'm not going to tell anyone how to make money. if this is that route that you have chosen, and you're in a situation where maybe you did lose your job, you were, let's just say, I'm not going to say the name of a company, but let's just say you got laid off, you got 2 kids, you're a single mom, you're going to live in a little tiny apartment, and all of a sudden, you jump into this world, and now you're making, let's say, triple of what you were making at this other job. I can see, okay, hey man, but again, then you have to think to yourself, because we've already had this situation come up where the teenager killed himself because the friends at school were talking about his mom on OnlyFans, that they had seen his mom on OnlyFans. So, that's where I was going with it with Kevin. It's just like,
Yeah.
so much has to happen for this to automatically become socially acceptable and the
Right.
norm where that child isn't going to be affected later on down the road where
Down
he
the
gets
road,
to high
yeah.
school, where the bullying and bullying starts earlier than that. So let's go
Oh,
sixth,
yeah.
seventh, eighth grade, where that kid can go, yeah, whatever, man, big deal. Like, it's not a big deal, but I don't know. Bonnie's actions have
Yeah.
sparked backlash. No, I wonder why. While labeling her a predator, yeah, yeah,
Again, barely legal and barely
yeah, barely breathing.
that's predator-like behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, abuse survivor Harrison James accused her of contributing to a dangerous culture, and her visa to Australia was revoked after she announced plans to target a school. See, that's yes, she was targeting a school that she was going to go do her shit at, which she's been known for doing, picking colleges,
Yeah,
showing up at
see.
college, and then sleeping with freshmen that are just 17, not 18 yet, and all this other stuff. So this
Yeah,
is how
see.
she's making her
Yeah.
money. Continues to defend her choices, for excuse me, framing them as a pursuit of personal freedom and success. Da, 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 da.
You know, hey, listen, like, I try to tell myself, hey, like, don't
Yeah,
judge, don't,
yeah,
that's it's not my place to judge. It's not my,
yeah.
but
Don't
it's
be so
like,
judgmental, Morgan. Jesus, man. I'm
right.
not judging you because you're a
She's making her
Packers fan.
money.
I'm not judging you because you're a Packers fan.
But
Yeah,
there are just some things, and
yeah,
again, it's like one of those, again, it says, barely legal and barely breathing. When
yeah,
you've got, people that you're, like, going after with that, it's like, yeah, that's when I start, you
yeah.
know, judging
It's
a little bit harder. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I was already judging the fact,
yeah,
that many guys. However, you
yeah.
know, live and
It,
let
it's
live,
it's
except
tough
when you're
because, like,
being a predator on people.
yeah, well, it's tough too because, like, as a parent, you want what's best. You want what's best for your kids. Sorry,
Yeah,
and you and like, one of the things, like, I instilled in my 3 children is, you know do what you love, and if you love what you're doing, it doesn't matter. If you love doing whatever you're doing and it's not making a lot of money, but you love doing it, that's sometimes better than doing something and working and making more money and not enjoying it, dreading every
right.
day to go into work doing this. I think that's where this generation has gotten to, is like, I think they're instilling that quote. It's like, hey,
She
I
loved doing it, all
rather
right.
yeah, I would rather make less money but be happy, and that's great. That's great. And okay, that's the difference between working at this office A, compared to office B. That if that's what it takes, great. But not this is like, woo, this is like way over the hill, extreme to the far left, to the far right, whichever way you're looking at it. But it's just like, that's it though, because it's come to this point where it's just like, and look, I don't want to, like, put all Gen Z in this circle, because it's not all of them. Because I know a few of them that have great work ethics, and they're good, normal people, and like that, just saying that, you're not allowed to say anymore. It's just like they're good normal people. Like some people will jump your ass and say, well, maybe how do you know she's not a good normal person? Well,
Barely legal, barely
thank
breathing.
you. Thank you. And
Come on
again,
now.
everyone's set of morals are different. What I feel is moral and just is different than maybe what you think is moral and just or how you were raised. I think not too much different because I know what your dad did for a living. So I know
Yeah.
that your morals and your just is just like mine because it's just
Mhm.
that the standard.
Yep.
Be a good
Oh
citizen.
yeah.
Yeah, go to work. Don't fuck around. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't get put
Right.
in jail because you'll live there. But
Right.
it's just I don't know. I mean, I get the quick money, and money has a lot to do. I mean, you start
Yeah.
I can only imagine Morgan just seeing that a bank account just keep
I love that
increasing.
money. I
Yeah,
love that money. However, I would not be willing to do what she did to get it.
no, you were not willing to give up your morals
Mm-mm.
and what you know is right to make that kind of money. But you start to think like the process that they're going through when you're sitting there one day and you're trying to pay your bills and you're at
Yeah.
zero and you're having to borrow money from the bank or borrow money or use
Right.
your credit cards to pay things, and then all of a sudden now you're at this point where you can sit in front of the computer and go, yep, auto pay. Everything
Right.
auto pay.
Pay that off right now. I mean,
I don't
and
even want to see it. Just auto pay everything. It's just
right.
it's
I
got to
just
be.
yeah.
And to Morgan, I mean, it's got to be to that person a feeling of success, for them
I mean, yeah, yeah, probably.
to where
I,
you and I are like,
well, and I just wonder, like, I mean, do you think at some point she's gonna regret it?
I do, I really do. I
So
think
do
it's
I.
I think even I brought that up with the when we were talking about it, when it does become the social norm and socially acceptable and all that thing. I think as a human, eventually you're going to have regrets because it's just part of life. It's just
And
you,
because what guy, what normal, decent man is going to approach her and be like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I want to marry
Oh no, you
her.
got to have a boyfriend before this that's really loving and caring and
Yeah,
understanding first, then loving and caring. Yeah, understanding has to come first in this situation. No, I mean,
look, that's all I can say is good luck finding
yeah,
him
yeah. Hey,
because
I know there's
oh,
been a
I
lot of
just
people in there, but I want to be the only one in there. Nope.
I still gotta
Yeah,
earn
'cause
my
I'm going.
money.
I did this in 12 hours. I'm starting to think, what the hell can I do in 24 hours?
Oh God.
That's the next marathon. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's for me, I think you're right. I think no matter what happens in your life or what happens in society, if this becomes something that's normal, I think as it's just human nature to regret your actions, later on
Yeah.
down your in the road. You self-reflecting, I don't know if some people do it,
Mhm.
in their 20s or their 30s or their 40s, but I
Oh
think
yeah, I mean, there's
eventually,
stuff I already,
yeah,
kind of wished I had done
exactly.
differently. Like, I mean, it's a part of life.
Yeah, it's part of life, and I don't know when this happens to her. And the scary thing is it's not all that money and all that fame and all that nonsense. Is she up here okay to handle,
Yo,
emotionally and physically in her head to handle what she's going to go through when she starts self reflecting on her life,
I
and
guess no.
I don't know, man. I think
I don't
hopefully,
know.
she's, has a good therapist. I don't know. Fuck. She
she,
fucking therapist.
she can pay for one. She can
Exactly.
afford one now.
I can buy a therapist. I don't, yeah, no. Yeah. So, and then again, does the does the normal person, eh, want you can't tell someone to not to have children. I mean, it's you can
Right.
have children, but as someone that's gone through all this, do you want that person even to have children? You know, the children are
I
going to go,
mean,
"Hey, what's your mommy do?" Well,
well, yeah,
I can tell.
gotta come up with a euphemism. I just, yeah,
It's
no.
just like, can you imagine the kindergartner telling his friends, "Well, you guys sit down, everybody. You're gonna have to sit for this one.
Take
This
a
is what
drink,
my
take
mom."
a drink. Oh God.
The one skill Gen Z is losing, one that
Mm.
humans have had for 5,500 years.
I'm very
5,000.
curious. I don't have any guesses, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious now.
Yeah. For millennials, writing has stood as a cornerstone for human communication.
Oh, I
You
think I know where
see,
this is
see,
going. I think I know where this is going.
just reading that, I can see where you know what I'm talking about. Even before I even finish the sentence, as a Gen Z, you know exactly where this story is going. And
I
it
think I
is,
still have the skill, thankfully, because I'm again like right
yeah,
on the cusp. So I
yeah,
think I'm safe anyway.
yeah. Offering a window into ancient societies and cultures. Today, however, the relentless advancement of technology is steering young generations towards digital devices, leaving traditional handwriting in the shadows. This shift, not site, John, shift is causing Gen Z to lose a fundamental skill. And it's funny. I saw this article last week and I saved it for the show.
Yeah.
What did I see today? Oregon, there are government jobs right now that
Mhm.
are paying good money because they need people that can read in cursive. And what they need these people to do is read cursive from old texts.
Where's the job listing?
Yeah. They want people. This is sad that they're having a hard time finding these people, but they want to take the old scriptures and old
Yeah.
texts and then transfer them into digital form so people can
Oh,
read,
okay.
the old laws, all that stuff,
Yeah.
but they're having a hard time finding people that can read cursive.
Sign me up. How much is it?
Uh,
How much is the pay?
I don't know, man. It's just like I watch
This is wild.
everything. And I've been around now for 57, 56 years, so I've seen some changes. And,
Yeah.
even with like my kids, like coming home from school, just seeing the work and that they're borderline millennials, but they're pretty
Yeah.
much Gen Xers the way they act. But
Mhm.
like seeing their homework and thinking, oh man, God, would I had, I was questioning whether I would have graduated if I would have had to have done what they're doing,
The new
you know,
math, that
the
that
new
that
course.
that whole bullshit.
Yeah. And now I am witnessing it with Aiden, like when he
Yeah.
is here and I'm looking at his homework, I said, let me see your homework by chance. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like,
What
okay,
the
none of
hell is this?
this makes no sense, and it's kind of like it's weird because it's like what was thought to be important 30, 40 years ago isn't so much important anymore,
Right.
and for me it's just like, well, wait a minute, uh like remember, and I'm sure your generation went through this too, like you asked yourself, I'm sure you asked your parents or your
Mhm.
teacher, like, when am I going to use this in the real world?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
right.
In
Yeah,
math. In
and that
math
and
especially,
math.
and especially when they tell us, "Well, you won't have a calculator in your back pocket," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Son
yeah,
of a
I
bitches,
do. Yeah, I
it's right
do.
here."
It's a scientific calculator, so if I need to get really in depth, I can do
Like,
it. You know?
it's in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
pocket, damn it.
yeah. And it's just like I used to laugh, like, oh man, fractions drove me nuts.
I
Fractions.
know.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to pull my hair out of my head, and I remember saying the same thing. It's like, where am I going to use it? And then I use it all the time. I use fractions all the time. I was just
I
like,
know. It's so
and
bad. Like,
now, yeah. And now it's even worse because it's like now it's when's the last recipe that you read that actually said a cup?
or well, that
It's
or it's like
millimeters or it's
or
weight,
grams or like
grams. It's
stuff
all
like that. I'm
weight.
like, what the hell is this? I
It's like,
put it
dude, what
put
happened?
it into American. Like what
Yeah, I gotta buy a
convert it
fucking
to
scale now.
American.
Yeah, I gotta buy a
Right.
fucking scale. What am I gonna do here, man? What do you mean
Right.
25 grams? What the fuck is 25 grams? Damn it! And if you were a druggie,
Googling it
you
like
knew.
grams to cups.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were a druggie, you knew all the grams. Like 25 grams. Oh fuck yeah. That was three
I
lines.
know that.
Like, yeah, I know this shit. I'm cooking a hell of a tomato soup. No. Yeah, it says declining handwriting skills, but born between 1990s and the 2010, Gen Z appears to be losing proficiency in handwriting, a skill once
Yeah.
intrigued to personal expression and communications. Recent studies from the University of I don't know where that is revealed the approximately 40% of this generation is weak and their ability to communicate through writing.
That's probably
This
accurate.
decline stems from that is a lot. This decline stems from interactions with smartphones, which is smart. Everything's abbreviated,
Yep.
especially not so much you guys, but like Deana, myself, and I
Yeah.
was already an adult, but we had the old style shit where I had to click
Yeah.
it 3 times to get to the letter K or 2 times to
Yep.
get to that letter. So we abbreviated everything,
Yeah.
to the point where it was just like you had to go to school just to learn how to read your text. But you
Right.
guys have adapted to that and used it. Now, in today's world where you have a full fucking keyboard in front of you on your phone, but yet
Right.
you still choose to write "Are you?" Not you don't write "Are you?" You just go "Are" and then "you," and I'm supposed
Yeah.
to read it that way,
Well, and it's like it's so weird because like there's definitely I think a difference. So like I'm the eldest, kids. I'll be 26 next month. My
Woo!
brother, woo,
Yeah.
um,
Party.
my one brother just turned 22, and my youngest brother's 13. Now, I think I was probably one of the last, like, very few, like, last few Gen Zers to actually to actually learn cursive
Yeah.
because my 22-year-old brother does not sign his name.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
I
blew
don't
me
think he
away.
learned and
Yeah,
and there's only a 4-year difference
yeah.
between us.
Yeah,
So it's
Aiden
like,
does not know cursive.
yeah,
Aiden's 13 and cannot write his name. Has to
neither does
right.
Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have the future generation of just the X. Right? Going all the way back to the early 1900s where people couldn't even write their name as just X. Who's this fucking guy? Oh, that's X. He lives on the corner over there. Oh no,
Right.
that's the other X that lives on that corner over there. Oh my
I
God.
know. Yeah, because I remember I forget where I was with Ian, but we were somewhere where he needed to sign, and
Yeah.
he just started like printing his name, and I said, "What?" I'm like, "Why are you not signing your name?" He's like,
That's
"Well, because I
crazy.
don't know how."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You weren't taught cursive?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "We went to the same school.
Yeah.
We're only 4 years apart."
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
too,
"Wow,
you think
okay,
about it. Even it still makes me laugh when I see the digital signature
yeah."
on a form, and you type it out, and that's your digital
It
signature.
goes,
So that's the future. So why even learn to write cursive?
I
And
mean, yeah,
it makes me laugh because I had this conversation with another person of no matter how much digital our world gets, there always will be paper.
yep,
Paper's never going away when it comes to a legal document. There
yeah,
will always be a paper form somewhere of your mortgage, your student loans,
car
your
loans,
credit
something,
cards, all that stuff.
yeah,
There's always so you still need to sign. You know what I mean? It's not like you're
yeah,
never going to have to sign something in your life. you know. So for me, it's just like when I see Aiden, like, hey, write your name, and I wanted to see how nice this cursive was, and
Just starts printing.
a the ugliest D I've ever seen in my life because he doesn't know how to bring it back right. When it goes back through a
Right.
letter. Yeah, seeing someone's handwriting for the first time is low key, so personal and beautiful. I don't know how to explain it. And I think that's what we're getting. It's like when someone actually sees someone. And this is funny because
Wow.
I didn't think about this. And Art is out there, my buddy Art from work. But Bertha, who is my supervisor at work, is a Gen Zer, and
Okay.
I wrote something down on some paper for her, and she
Yeah.
goes, "Oh wow, your handwriting is really nice." And I was like, and didn't I
What?
had to because I went to Catholic school, and if it looked
Oh
like
yeah.
shit, you got hit in the hands with a ruler. So I made sure my
You're good.
handwriting was legible, and the only thing
Right.
that in my yeah, the only thing for me that like my signature is ugly because
Yeah. So is
I was
mine.
a truck driver, so I was literally signing my name in a 12-hour night. I counted it almost 50 times.
No.
So every time I would drop a load at a certain store, or a certain place, I'd
Sign
have
off
to
on it. Yeah.
sign here, sign here, sign here. So my signature is J, and you can see John. John, you can
Okay.
read, but the last part, Trincali, is just a line and a slash over and a little loop and a dot. You can't.
Right.
There's you don't. It doesn't make any sense what is in the middle. You can't see
It's like
TRU.
M. Yeah, mine's like M, and then like you can kind of
Yeah,
see maybe like a G like in there,
yeah,
and then daily it's like D, and then that Y and a swoosh in
yeah.
there. I'm like, okay, good enough.
Yeah, I've had people go, "What are you, a doctor?" And I'm like, no, you sign like a doctor, like that
I play one
prescription.
on TV.
Yeah, the prescription just slash.
Right,
And I mean, look, I think it's important that they do know how to handle, cursive. I think we're at a point where it isn't important to know how to do it, but
right.
understand how to read it, maybe because we
Yeah,
still have.
yeah,
Yeah. I think eventually, yes, the world will come to a place where, yes, there won't be any cursive, but you can't take away what has been done, you know,
right,
in the
right.
1500s, the 1400s, go all the way back to the, 5,500 years, there was some sort of form of handwriting,
Or
whether,
even your grandparents just writing
yeah,
on cards or whatever. I mean, like just being
oh, they
able to
don't care.
you
Come
know,
on, come on. You know what you did. You just opened it to see how much
found
cash
the
was in
money.
there.
It was like,
Yeah, one, two. All right, Grandpa was good. You didn't read of my loving and caring
well, I
granddaughter.
could read it. The
Yeah,
difference is
none.
that, like my
Grandpa and Grandma
brother,
love you this much.
right? Right. I have to like translate for
uh,
my brother and be like, okay, this is what they said,
what did your?
so he just
Yeah, you
grabs
didn't
the
even
money and
ask your
runs.
brother what did yours say. You said how much was in yours.
Right. What'd you get? What'd you
How much did you get? How much did you get from Grandma? Because every year you got a little more, That's how
Yep.
grandparents are. Well,
Yep.
you're 5 now, so you get five
Oh yeah.
dollars and $6, $7.
My
Uh,
my great grandmother would always like every time Ian and I would come over, we'd walk in the door, we'd say our highs and stuff like that.
yeah,
We'd be starting to sit down. She'd go get her little red coin purse and come
yeah,
out, and she'd try to be like sneaky, and not like not have my mother see. She'd
yeah,
come right out there. She'd be like, "Here you go," and Ian and I just got so used to being like, "Okay,"
yeah,
like
yeah,
like waiting for that little red coin purse to come out.
yeah. And
You
then
know, it
the nasty old candy that's sitting around for about 5 years in the
oh,
bowl,
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
butterscotch and
Yep.
the little
Oh, yeah.
peppermint candy and the butterscotch candy.
The,
Digital
strawberry ones
technology
too.
has transformed direct communication methods, sidelining handwriting in favor of instant messaging, a screen based interaction experience. Experts suggest that Gen Z might be the first cohorts of functionally incapable,
Well,
sorry, functionally incapable of handwriting. And I think, yeah, I still think,
I can see it.
yeah, I believe that. I believe that. But like speaking of someone that knows how, and you do too. I don't think it's that hard to learn,
No, I
even
mean,
after you haven't learned it. Now you're in your 20s. It's like you can learn to do handwriting.
yeah, it's
It's
not
not
like
that hard.
it's I mean, granted, I think when you're initially taught it as a kid, it's, it's a bit, I mean, like, maybe a bit easier, but, like, not but I mean, now it's like,
I think no, it's not.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think when you're a kid at our age trying to learn, and you have a nun standing in front of you. I think it becomes
Well, that's
difficult.
different. That's a
I
whole lot
think
of
now
pressure
that
right
you're
there.
in your 20s and you don't have someone standing over you who'll beat you with a ruler,
Right,
you
right.
can do it.
God.
Moreover, handwriting plays a crucial role in development by enhancing memory and word comprehension. This is true. See, that's I think.
Yeah,
I think they're not just talking about handwriting in general cursive.
yeah.
I think they're
Mhm.
talking about just actually writing things on paper, like
Right.
a complete coherent sentence.
Well, and too, like, okay, they bring up like the whole thing about how now everything was being replaced by, IM and, stuff like that.
Yeah,
You would think at this point that they would have started like teaching the younger Gen Zs how to properly write a fucking email or how
yeah,
to, nope,
yeah,
nope, nope. We haven't done that yet because now it's, it's
yeah,
transitioning over. Well, it's like, well, you'd think, okay, now is the time then to start maybe teaching them how to actually write a proper email
yeah, yeah.
or
And
something like
email's not
that.
going
But
nowhere.
no,
It's not going nowhere. Everyone, that
no.
is the one staple of communication on the internet right now. And no matter how much time has gone by, let's 1990s, right? Internet.
Yep.
And what was the first thing that we thought was the coolest thing? I am
Mhm.
and email. So it
Yep.
was just like, I can email somebody, and people were still at that time. Think about it. I think people, I mean, it was to the point where even the post office got scared because the post office
Yeah.
is thinking, oh my God, grandma's not going to send that postcard
Letters no
or
more.
that letter anymore because she's just going to email it. So you
Snail
knew
mail will
that
be gone.
yeah, even the post office was in fear of email. It's just like, oh
Right.
shit, man. And think about since the 90s till today, it's still the basis of corporations is
Mhm.
emails.
Yep.
Our government, that's how they get caught doing stupid shit. Email. You'd think they would have learned by now.
Right.
Don't send an email on the government server, you fucking idiot. Create a
You
stupid name
dumbass.
on Gmail, you know, like we
Gmail.
all did. Butthole
Right.
1996. Something stupid that doesn't come back to get you or bite you in
Right.
the ass. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's the part of it I think is, eh, you know, just sitting there and writing something down.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll take out. Let's not say like the little love notes or the notes that you leave. Oh,
Right.
we need milk. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's not a
No.
sentence. That's not. You're not putting like a whole
It's
thesis
not on
together
damn grocery list. Okay.
about unless you're like, we're out of milk. Make sure it's this whole thing. Make sure it's almond milk. Make sure it's on this date and all this other. Yeah, now you've written a
Right.
paragraph of just one thing about your almond milk, but I think it's just like if you were to have like a Gen Z, not you particularly, but a Gen Z, to sit down and let's just say put a short story together. I can imagine what that looks like.
It would be used with like AI, so like Chat,
Yeah, that's
GBT
true
or
too.
whatever. They wouldn't even go through the trouble of trying to create their own damn story.
Yeah,
Probably it would
yeah,
be with Chat GBT or whatever.
yeah. Chat
So
GTP.
or yeah,
It would
or
be.
wait, or
I
wait,
didn't even think
GP.
about
What?
that. That is true. I didn't even
Yeah,
think about that. Yeah, it would be.
that's what they
And
would
what's
do.
funny is they're so stupid because before now I can see a few students that are new get away with it a little bit more
Yeah,
again because the teachers don't know how they write yet. But like
right.
if you've been in a classroom and you have a certain style and a certain words that you use when you're writing,
Right,
teachers
and
pay
then all of a sudden it
attention to that
changes,
guy.
right.
They know your mom knew you didn't write shit because he knew like you've never used that word before in your entire you can't even spell that word. A matter of fact, you didn't even spell it right, you know?
Right? No,
Yeah,
well,
so yeah.
because I even remember when I was finishing up, I mean, it wasn't really around too much, but, they still kind of, hammered into us,
Yeah.
through, you know, college about, the whole thing of plagiarism, the whole
Yeah.
I mean, in my criminal law classes, when we were writing, case briefs and stuff like that, I
Yeah.
mean, there was no way you were gonna get away with, you know,
Yeah.
using AI or using other stuff when, the formatting needed to be a certain way, it
Yep.
just I mean, there was just no way.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, and it's funny because this next I said various studies and university professors reported that Gen Z students often struggle when required to switch from keyboards to handwriting. Like any skill and neglected over time, their handwriting was noticeably disoriented, frequently appeared messy and hard to read, and that's the problem. That's the problem, you know.
Yeah.
And, like all right, like for me, I'm trying to picture my life as a truck driver and what I had to go through. There was a point in time before I stopped driving truck where everything became handheld tab. We had a tab, literally
Oh,
had a
yeah.
tablet, had a tablet. So it was just, sign here with your finger, you were done. But
Right.
if I had to physically stop and write a report, I could, because I
Yeah.
felt, I could still handwrite and still be legible and understandable.
Mhm.
And I think, it, it's hard though, because you start to think of how we're advancing, like what you were just talking about with Chat GTP and a couple other AI and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, would you say it's still important?
I mean, well, and see,
All
and,
right, let me phrase it this way. Do you still think
yeah.
it's important to know how to handwrite, or as long as you know you can
Yes.
read it?
I think it's still important that you know how to, write stuff by hand. I think it's still important because, like, even now with my job now, granted, I have to do a lot of, like, my own version of shorthand because, it's
Yeah,
what I understand and
yeah,
it's what, because
right, right,
doctors tell me stuff and they're going a mile a minute, so I'm like, just quick
yeah,
making up my list, just doing shorthand.
yeah,
But, I mean, but, like, if, say, like, I needed to, you know, do something else and I needed someone else to, like, go do the checkout or whatever, like, I
yeah,
would rewrite it out neatly so that
neatly.
they could read it and, and not be, confused or whatever. So, I mean, like I still think it's important because, like those, uh, professors had said, like, I mean, it does help with, like,
Yeah.
memorizing things, and it's, I just don't think that, like, there's gonna be a point in society where we're not gonna have to handwrite anything anymore.
No.
I mean, I think there's still gonna be some things that it's like, okay, you're gonna have to, like, at
I hope
least
we don't get to a
print.
point where we can actually read each other's thoughts because that could get really ugly.
Yeah, no, the whole that whole Elon Musk mind link thing or whatever
I
the
don't wanna
hell that
mind link
that
with
thing is,
anyone,
no,
damn it. Nobody
absolutely
wants to
not.
know what's going on in my head, damn it. That's all I'm telling you.
Going down the
You
rabbit hole.
yeah, yeah, you're going down a hole you don't wanna go down. Professor I'm not even going to try to say that name, notes that even university students lack basic writing skills. That's crazy. According to his findings, students no longer craft coherent paragraphs, but instead use lengthy sentences. I remember my teacher getting mad. Yeah, how is that one sentence, John? That's a whole paragraph, and there's no period. There's just comma, comma, comma. I'm just trying to get to a
I mean,
thousand words, bitch. Just shut up.
right? Well, but that's also it too because even when I was doing school online, like you couldn't have a bunch of like run-on
Yeah,
sentences. So I mean even doing handwriting things. I think it teaches those
yeah.
important grammar lessons.
Oh, you know what I thought about too is that like even as an employer, you can't even in today's employee, you can't even be judgmental about their handwriting, because now you've some sort of
Right.
harassment. it's, if you live
Discrimination.
in California, it'll eventually be harassment that you
Yeah, or
harassed it.
discrimination. Yeah.
Yeah, discrimination. Yeah, I was discriminated. Why? It was sexual harassment. Did you say something wrong at work? Or no,
Oh, I
my
just didn't
handwriting.
write.
My handwriting. I'd be like, what the hell? The evidence universities where most students rely solely on computers for all tasks, abandoning pens and paper entirely. Authority. That's the influences of social media. Yeah, oh, it's just what's I'm gonna laugh, but it's like you remember. I'm sure you remember the phases of what you went through just learning how to hold the pencil, the pen right the first time.
Oh
Remember?
yeah.
You
Yeah.
remember writing like this?
You're like,
Just the whole pen in your hand, you're holding it, just and then getting
yep.
taught to go like this, and then
No,
uh, the
I
whole
know.
that whole thing is gone, man. It's gone.
Those
Computers, computers.
those special like pencil grip things that you were
Oh
supposed to
yeah,
use
oh
to
yeah,
help
the
you hold
help.
it. So I technically never held a pencil correctly, but it felt more comfortable to me to hold. I'm trying to, oh, here, like I have a little thing. So like I hold it like
Oh
this,
wow, yeah, that's
which you're
different.
not
Yeah,
supposed to do.
yeah,
And so, because you're supposed to be like this.
right,
And
right.
I just it felt so uncomfortable to me to hold it like this. So I used to have, and I guess now it's kind of
An
evident how I don't
indention.
write as much anymore. I used to have a little bump like
Yeah,
right there from holding it
yeah,
like this.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, I think like you're saying too. I think it's it may not be so important to be able to handwrite. I get that cursive. Let's just stick to that one, cursive. But I think it is still
Yeah.
being able to actually read cursive. I think is still important because, again, you know, old documents, 1500s, 1600s. You want to
Yep.
be able to read those things, and now that they are, yes, technically trying to transfer that was fucking hilarious. I mean, I found this link, and then, like, the next day, there was a link to this job opportunity that the government is having a hard time filling
Send
because
it
no
my
one's
way.
because they can't read cursive. And I was laughing. And I think, that, that's, with that implemented and them transferring, the Constitution, can you read the
Yeah.
Constitution? Can you read some of the old, uh, 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 posts, that were from the 15, 16, 1700s,
Yeah.
that were all cursive. It was all cursive back then, And again, too, yeah, some of the words we don't use today, because I was just like last night. I said, I don't know why, but I just said I wanted to watch National Treasure, and I
Oh
just,
yeah.
yeah, and there's that line in that movie where Nicolas Cage says to him, "No one writes like that anymore," and and that's true. It's
It's
true.
so true. Yeah.
Nobody. You read the Constitution, you're like, well, who were these people, man? Like no one
What
writes.
language are they speaking? Because it doesn't
Where's
seem like it's
why isn't fuck
English.
in here somewhere, or asshole?
God
I
damn
mean,
it.
yeah, it's
Right.
like, they had that word back then. They just didn't use it. What's wrong with these
Right.
people?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think it's something that you should learn. I think it's something you should learn how to read, and
Mhm.
but the problem is it's deeper than that, because it's not just the fact that you can't write in cursive, or it's the fact that you can't put a sentence together. And
Right,
that's the
that's
problem.
coherent,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's not coherent. You like, I'm blamed for it because I do it still to this day because I don't have a nun standing over me, but like I'll write something, and it's
Right.
just like, dude, I know there needs to be a period here somewhere. I can't use commas all throughout this sentence that's already got 56 words in it, And
I gotta
so
break it
it's
up somehow.
gotta break it up somewhere. There's got to be a capital letter somewhere here with a period before it, somewhere. I don't know
Right.
where it is, but it's got to be in here somewhere. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that's how you feel. I mean, it's just learn it, learn it.
can't hurt,
Hey, we all learn stuff that we don't need to do anymore, man.
Right. Pythagorean theorem. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
used it once. Haven't used
No,
it
no.
once.
And trigonometry, yeah, I don't, ancient history, like, oh, we're gonna,
Stats. I haven't really used
we're,
stats. I'm
I'm
good.
gonna run into ancient history in California. Why do I need to
That's
know who Plato was and Pluto and all these other fools?
right.
Yeah, I'm not a psych major. I'm not a psychiatric major.
Nope.
Let me pull up this next one here. Let's go with the divorce one. Kim,
Right.
Kim. Let me do this here.
No.
Oh man, I tell you, this puts marriage at a whole different level, man. If this was something implemented here in the United States, I think people would
Yeah.
stick. What's funny is though, you think about it, it's we have a form of it that's happening today. I wouldn't call it labor camps, but unfortunately, because of the economics of being divorced, and couples are actually staying in the same home. So it's kind of like, you're divorced, but you're
Well,
living in the same home. It's kind of like a labor camp.
that's kind of what my mom did when she finally divorced from my stepdad.
Yeah,
They were well. Now, granted, she wasn't officially divorced yet. She was in the
yeah, separated.
process
Yeah,
of, but they lived in the same house. Granted, it was a miserable experience,
yeah. So labor camp.
but 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 she did until she got the place she's in now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And for me, like, I'm reading this article, I can, as like, if I were in the situation of Kim Jong-un, and I get it, but they're not in this situation. China, I take China, North Korea
Yeah.
out of this. Asia, all the Asians. Sorry, Art. All the Asians. I take all the Asians out of this theory, and I understand why this is important. But yet they have billions of billions and billions of people there. Now, if I take this situation and move this to, say, Italy, where they're having issues, where
Yeah.
divorce and people not having children, and the population has gotten older and older and older and older, and there's a good chance of what's happening in Italy, that eventually there won't be any Italians, because they were going to all die. They're all going to die out because
Yeah.
people are not having children, and they're getting divorced. Divorce has become common in Italy, and not having children has become a common thing, and those children actually leaving Italy. And what's happening in Italy is that you have these old towns now where the average age is 60 something years old.
Right.
And there's no kids. There's nobody in their 20s or 30s having children in those communities. So I can kind of get where he's going with this, keep the marriage, keep the nucleus, keep the family thing intact.
But to send them to a labor camp, though,
Hell
then
yeah.
we're going to the extreme now.
Hey, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna, because I haven't thrown out my inner Johnny on this show yet. I think the women should be the ones going to the labor camp. The men continue.
Why us?
There
Why
you go. You,
us?
you got Johnny out of me.
Why
you
us
can
though?
you can do Deana right now and go, oh, John. Oh my God. Kim Wong Hung, whatever his name is, has reportedly ordered diverse couples be sentenced to labor camps up to 6 months. 6 months,
6 months.
with
And
women potentially facing longer sentences.
what the hell? What the All right, listen. Look,
Go
now,
Kim, go
now,
Kim, go Kim.
now, granted, in Asia, women, don't aren't exactly as empowered as they are, over here. So like, okay, yeah, but it's like one of those things. So it's like, okay, so like they're sent to this labor camp, right?
Yeah,
And then like what? Like if they decide that they want to like if they want to get like remarried or whatever, then they can like leave.
I wanted you to prove. I wanted to prove that was actually in the sentence. So there it is.
Wow, that's
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention to chat there. What
It's
is
always up
this?
to the woman.
Banger. What is happening, buddy? You're late. Well, you're late. Johnny Power. That's right. Johnny Power. You do remember, I'm sure you remember Morgan. Yeah, because you go back. You go back.
Oh, you don't know what I think about.
Yeah,
Oh wait,
yeah.
was he from
Bangerade Juice One.
yeah, also from the Wednesday show, right?
Yeah, yeah. On the Wednesdays there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's been,
Morgan's back. She's back.
it's been too long, I tell
Yeah,
you. Too
yeah.
long.
Yeah, I just wanted to prove that sentence was actually in there, Morgan. So
We're
I
just
wasn't
making it
making
up.
it up
This
because
wasn't
I thought
bullshit,
about it
that's
like I
all.
just said that before I said the other thing, so I had to make sure that I wasn't
What
being a
for?
male chauvinist pig. And it's Kim Wong is the chauvinist. It's like the man cheated. He did everything wrong in the marriage. They
But
get
the woman
divorced.
gets
The
the
woman
sentence.
gets punished for it.
Right,
Somehow, some way, she fucked up. So we're gonna
right,
punish her.
right. She gets the longer sentence.
You,
No,
you. He goes to like. He goes. To, oh my god! I'm gonna say. He goes to one of those high end crime places. You know, like we have
oh
here
yeah,
for the white
yeah.
collar criminals.
Or white collar
She goes to the
crime,
silk
yeah.
farms. She goes to the silk farms or the rice paddy fields to work. No, women don't get a break no matter where they are in this world.
No.
North Korea leader has declared that ending a marriage demonstrates anti-social, sympathetic, and warrants punishment. So, man, that wouldn't fly here. That would not
No.
fly here. Can you imagine Joe Biden?
Especially not the longer sentences for women part.
I think that's perfect. Like, I'm not going to get into that one. I don't see any problem with that thing. Being speaking of a divorcee, I wouldn't mind my ex-wife going to prison for a little bit. John is certified harasser. Yes, I am a certified harasser. That's on Instagram. Hey, I got my certificate. I have it somewhere over here. I passed my sexual harassment class that's required in
Ooh, there you
California.
go.
Yeah, so I'm good to go, baby. I'm good to go. I can socially harass anyone now. 'Cause I got a certificate.
There you go.
All right. Look, uh, yeah, I would be worried. Not just like for him in North Korea, but like some of the Islamic countries and other
Oh
countries
yeah.
that basically have women as yeah, Johnny, sexual harassment Johnny, that's me, that make women feel like second class citizens. Because if you haven't looked, they're outnumbering us, people. Eventually the numbers are going to be way to the point where they'll have actually start using some of their power and making change in life. Because for me, it's just like, that's just, it's you're blaming the whole marriage and you're punishing one individual because you feel that she should have done, like, I don't know, like, what are the customs of a wife in the Philippines or anywhere in Asia? I mean, I'm sure they're strict. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure they're, hey, you make sure there's dinners on the table, clothes
Oh
and clean, the
yeah.
laundry's done, the kids are fed, all this other stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, just blaming the whole relationship or the divorce on a woman and punishing her with a longer sentence.
I mean, granted, both of them get punished, and then of course, yeah, it's the woman who
Yeah.
might face the longer sentence. But like, it's one of those things where then like I wonder like, well, what if they're sentenced and then they decide they want to get remarried?
Ooh, 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 ooh. That's tough, man. Because like,
Then would their
like,
sentence get like erased if they get like
yeah.
remarried, or is
I found
Kim
another
Jong Un
lover.
like, nope,
Yeah, you don't have to
you
go to the
had your
rice field. If
chance.
that happens, you don't have to go to the rice field. You can get remarried in time before your court date.
Yeah, make sure the wedding's by this date.
You get a pass. You don't have to go to the silk fields and collect silkworms. Yeah, I mean, wow. It's just,
It's wild.
I don't know, man. I feel like I get kinda what he's trying to do, It's like, but I don't know what the divorce rates are there, like they are
Probably
here.
not
I
very
do I
high.
feel like some people do I feel like some people, maybe shouldn't have gotten married in the first place? Yeah. Do I think there are people out there that don't work on their marriage like they should? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I think people should be able to get a divorce because they realize there's no compatibility there, or that things aren't working out, or one's an asshole or abusive or whatnot? Yeah. But I think I mean I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the divorce rates are over there. I don't know if it's as
I'm
high
gonna
as
look
it
it
is
up.
here. Right?
I
Right.
mean, I would venture a guess that it's not, but
It's
just for
not,
research purposes, I'm gonna look it up.
because
Let's see.
he's always come off as someone that what is the word I want to use, that
A hard ass.
not just a hard ass, but like uh, overreacts to situations that maybe he shouldn't need to be. Like I could see that the divorce rate is probably somewhere in the low 5%, and him overreacting, like it got to 6 like one year, and
Well,
now
yeah. So okay. So here. This is just a quick, Google search. Which, by the way,
yeah.
one of the articles that just came up was from Radio Free Asia. North Korea launches anti-divorce campaign targeting women. So, there you go. So it says that it's very low, with official data reporting less than 1% of the
See, the
population is divorced
overreaction
or
to us.
separated.
Yeah, yeah.
However,
Oh,
there are inconsistencies in the data, and some sources say that the divorce rate has increased over time. But see, here's what's interesting though, and that I think also contributes to,
yeah.
the whole. So, um, North Korea has high marriage rates, with over 96% of adults over 30 married.
Oh,
Arranged marriage is still
oh,
common.
still common. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
imagine,
yeah,
you're married to somebody that you had no say,
yeah. It was all,
in.
yeah. It was all over a piece of land, or a restaurant, or
Yeah,
a noodle recipe. Sorry, Art. A
it's
rice
like
recipe.
it's like your family decided for you,
Yeah. Hey,
and it's like,
hey, like I was one of those that thought that was wrong. It was a bad thing, but there are certain cultures that works. That
I
arranged
mean,
marriage.
true,
Yeah, yeah.
true.
Yeah, and I can see how it would work, because I think you're two complete strangers for once, learning to love each other throughout the
Yeah.
years, and learning your quirks and perks, and all that other stuff. So you're growing into a relationship, instead of already being in a relationship, trying to make it now work as a marriage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
it's
what
still
if
weird.
they just do something that just annoys the ever-loving shit out of
Yeah,
you, and no matter what
yeah,
you do to try to
yeah.
deal with it,
Yeah. Which one of
you
your
just
parents is Italian?
neither
Neither?
actually.
I was gonna say, I could see tomorrow morning your mom waking up and it's like, "You know what? We found you a husband in Italy." "Well, what's he look like?" "Don't worry about it. It's
Don't
gonna
worry
work.
about it.
Don't worry
Just
about
pack
it."
your bags, you're going.
Me and your dad got we got a villa in Rome for arranging this marriage. So, how old is he, Mom? He's 57.
Be like, but mom, she's like,
Mom, I'm
shut up,
25.
shut the
It's
hell up,
okay.
pack your shit and get going.
It's okay. It's that or labor camp. Which one do you want more than?
Right, pick. You pick. Which one do you want?
I'll take the working at the silk farm
Right?
over the 56-year-old guy. Uh, it says residents of I'm not even going to try to say that, Gang province said, I went to Kim On Suk County People Court, where 12 people received divorces. Wow. Okay. In one day. Immediately after the verdict, they were transferred to a county labor training camp. That's fucked up. Bye, kids. We'll see you in 6 months.
Jesus.
You're gonna go live with your grandparents.
Right.
Oh.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's just.
Until last year, when a couple divorced, only the person who first filed for the divorce was sent to the labor camp. Oh, okay. See, now that
See, that's more. Well, okay, I say more fair.
it's not,
That's not what I
because they could have been an
like.
abusive
Well,
relationship.
right, right. Okay. So here's the thing. This whole thing is bullshit. However, in the context of oh god, oh, oh god,
Nice. Oh, just
yeah, no,
Frank.
it was
Hey,
only
Frank.
fucking.
The other Frank is out there. Yeah, I got to take that down. I won't stop laughing. Yeah, I mean, you're punishing the person that just couldn't take it anymore. You know,
Right. It's
for
like
whatever
enough.
reason it is. It's like, hey, he beat me every day. He came home drunk. He doesn't work. Blah blah blah. I want
We
a
have no
divorce.
money. We're poor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
off to
poor.
labor camp for you.
Off to camp for you. 6 months.
6 months.
I don't understand why you couldn't make it work. So what if he's drunk?
Right.
Make a bed for
Right.
him. Oh man. Uh tunnel. Oh, them
Oh
Koreans.
man.
Them Koreans. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Do I think we have a set of rules, I think, that are good for those that are in that process of trying or in the process of trying to get divorced. And I
Yeah.
think it's smart that we have the way we have. Hey, there's a cool off period. And I
Right.
think that's smart. I think there needs to be a cool off because sometimes there might be a situation where you eventually, a month down the road, you both sat down and you realize how stupid it was.
Right.
Instead of wasting the court's time and costing yourself thousands and thousands of dollars for
Mhm.
lawyers, and I like that there's a cool off period. I like the fact that they suggest it's not mandated, but they suggest that you seek counseling. You know,
Yeah.
go see a counselor, go see a marriage counselor, see if you can work it out. I think we have things in place to maybe help prevent that next alternative of becoming divorced. But I think
Right.
our divorce rates are so high here, and it's,
Yeah.
it's just and I like the fact that your generation has decided to wait.
Yeah.
This is an important thing in my life to be married at by my in my 20s, like me. I mean, that was stapled in my
Mhm.
brain. High school, graduate, go to college, get married, boom, 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 house. This
Yeah.
like all lined up for you, to where you guys have realized that there's other things that are more important than me being married and having 3 kids by the time I'm 25. You know,
Yeah.
travel, education, freedom, all that stuff. I think is important to get out of your system. And I
Oh,
think that's
definitely.
one
Yeah.
of the major problems is I think you get married so young, and by the time you turn 30, by the time you turn 30, 30, 35, let's say right around that age, your kids have become self-efficient. They don't
Right.
need you so much anymore. They still need to ride to school and all this other stuff, but they don't need you at home for all the things that
Right.
you had.
Yeah.
So now your mind starts to wander. What do I do with this time? And unfortunately, most of us, I'm blaming the women. No, most of us start most of us start looking outside and we get ourselves in trouble. And I think,
Yeah.
if you do, I believe if you get all that aggression and all that partying out of the way in your 20s helps when you're in your 30s. Yeah, I think it does. I think you have something to look back on and say, this is, if I go back and do this, this is what's going to happen. But not having that sense of what is possible and
Right.
having yeah, you know what I mean? So for me, yeah, I get it. I get it. But that,
Well, and I mean, circumstances with things are so, different now.
yeah.
Like the whole concept of okay, get married, get a house. It's like, well, the thing is that like the way the housing market is or whatever. I mean, it's like,
You
I'm just
need
saying to
you need
myself,
two
well, good
wives.
luck, like,
You need two wives.
right, right. it's like, okay, well, good luck with that. Like,
Yeah,
it's just so different. And like there was a
yeah,
time in which I was kind of feeling like, okay, I'm 25 years old. I'm, kind of getting into that whole, oh, maybe I'm not where I want to be in life or whatever. But then, I saw this post or whatever. I forget exactly like how it was phrased, but it basically said, you are at a very different, you as in like, someone,
yeah,
my age i- is in a very, very different spot in life than like my parents were. Like
exactly.
I mean, life is so different. Society is so different. Everything is so different. So to hold, yourself to the standard of life that your parents lived is completely
Yeah,
unrealistic.
unrealistic.
And it's
Yeah,
like, it kind of made me feel better. I was kind of like, okay, all right, it's like it's okay
yeah,
that
yeah.
it's not working out exactly how it worked out for mom and dad.
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, no, no. The expectations, and it's especially if you have documented your teen years, your parents, let's say your parents documented your teen years, and
yeah,
your kids now look at your teen years and like, well, how did you have a Camaro, or how did you have this, and how and it's
right,
just like, yeah, well, that Camaro cost this much, and they try to to look at the and try, you want what's best for you. Every parent wants,
yeah,
what I'm trying to get at is every parent wants their kids to do better than they did. That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. Every parent wants their child to do better than they did. And that's all you can hope for, or at
right,
least equal what you did. But you're
yeah,
right. I mean, like today it's just like you start looking around, and we joke about it all the time. I joke about it all the time. It's like, Jesus Christ, when did a bean burrito become $2.79 at Taco Bell? And
right,
it's just like, and I remember it being 59 cents, you know?
yeah,
And I'm just like, how did this happen? And then you again, like you said, you have this new generation that is in their mid 20s, and they're trying to function in day-to-day life, and depending on what region you live in this United States of America,
yeah,
it's tough when it's like, when my kids ask me, how much was your first rent, I said my first rent was $300. That's what I paid,
yeah.
$300. And then I paid $650 for a three-bedroom house. A three-bedroom house, I paid
Holy,
$650, and in this
holy,
area of Modesto. That same house now
it's
is
like,
1,800 to 2,500 a month,
yeah,
depending on what area of Modesto it's in.
yeah.
And so it's just like, you're right. I mean, and you add a marriage into that, and you're both trying to, I don't know how things are in Korea there, what they're fighting for. I don't know what they're fighting about. So I don't know.
I don't know if they can really fight for anything, really. I
They
mean,
can't fight for things. They can fight
no,
the,
no.
the idea, the idea of things. There you go. I like that. Oh yeah, you go back home. No, no, Johnny, no accents, John. We get in trouble for the French accent. We will get in a lot of trouble for the Asian accent. We're gonna do an Asian Indian accents, no French accents on the show because we get in trouble. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough. I mean, and like I said, I don't know how things are there. It seems like it's getting to a bad number, I guess. I mean,
Bad.
yeah. See,
For
and then
them, probably it's a bad number.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
perspective is everything, I
Yeah, let
guess.
me throw this out there because I think this has a big part of it, and I think this also has not just a big part there, but I think worldwide, because I think people weren't ready for this situation to take place, and that's COVID-19. I think when COVID-19 happened, and now we are locked in doors with each other all day, and we're not having to go to work for 8-9 hours a day
Right.
and then a 2 hour commute, so you're gone 11, 12 hours of the day. Sometimes that's what a woman
Right.
needs away from her man. Just give me 12 hours, just be gone for
12
12
hours.
hours and this marriage will work. This marriage will go for 25, 30 years if
Right.
I don't have to see you for 12 hours during the day. But I think COVID-19 put us in this box, and I think
Yeah.
people weren't ready for that. And I don't think it matters whether you're in the US, North Korea, Italy, Spain, England, the UK, anywhere. I think
Right.
when you put us in a box and we're told we can't go anywhere, and now we have to function a 24-hour day with the ones we love, with the ones we love. Let's add that one, the ones
Love.
we love, and we don't have the ability for those breaks throughout the day.
Right.
I think that had a lot of strain on marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the divorce rates were already kind of, again, getting bad, at
Yeah.
least here in the US, even, before COVID. But I mean, definitely once COVID came around, it just kind of upped the yay, so to
Yeah.
speak, in terms of like just, people just getting on each other's last damn nerves, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of because I have a coworker at work who was telling me, because she still works part time, just to keep busy mostly. Her
Yeah.
husband's retired,
Yeah.
um, and we were joking around about her when she's going to retire, and she's like, well, I don't know, I'd be home with my husband all day. And she was and she was talking about how a friend of hers and their and her husband,
You need those blocks, those break
they're
blocks.
well, she said, she goes, "Yeah, well, my friend's husband, they share this small trailer together down in Florida." And she said, "I don't know how you don't drive each other crazy."
Yeah.
And her friend goes, "Well, because he goes out and plays golf for several hours, and then
Yeah.
I go do my own thing for
Yeah.
what, and then at the end of the day, we get back together and talk about our day."
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's
that's
the
just it.
worst thing is the retirement thing, because that's the thing. You had those blocks throughout the day where you weren't with each other, and one of the things that like is being stressed right now to my generation, Gen Xers that are getting close to retirement that are still
Yeah,
couples, to make sure they have some sort of hobby, something
yeah,
to get them outside, whether it's golf,
out of the house. Yeah,
photography, wine class, art class, take another
anything,
class at college, do something, but
something,
because,
anything.
this fantasy, and this was my parents' generation, this thing where, now granted that generation completely different than even Gen X or any other. I mean, they learned to live to hate each other. So, but they functioned, you know what I mean? They
Hmm.
functioned because that was just instilled in their morals, that you don't get divorced, you make it work.
Right.
Whether you hate each other, you make it work, and they didn't have to worry about things to do. And like they would talk about, like that generation would go, oh, when I retire, for instance, they would go, if when I retire, we're going to rent an RV and drive across the country. The last fucking thing I want to do is be in a vehicle
With
for 12,
somebody.
13 fucking hours every day, driving, granted, and her telling me how bad my driving is, me telling me how bad her driving is. Oh, you missed this exit, you missed that exit. We can't, there's no way in God's green earth do I want to be trapped in an RV with the woman of my love, that I love, and that's supposed to be my wife for the rest of my life. There is no way I would want to do that. There's no way. I need the blocks. We all need those blocks,
Right.
whether, and look, we go from, on average, I'll be, so like here in California, the average commute is a little under 4 hours. So it's 3 hours. Most people are driving about 3 hours a day for work. And let's just say the average person works 8 hours. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
12 hours a day. You don't have to be around that person, So 12 times five is what? Do the math. That's 10. That's five. It's
12 times
60.
5 is, yeah.
Yeah. So you got those blocks, those breaks. And now,
Hmm.
to not have those breaks like COVID, I think COVID was a wake up call for marriage.
Yeah.
Let's see if you really, let's see,
Let's test the strength of
let's
your
test,
marriage right
and,
now.
and, and on top of it, let's make you sick as fuck and see if this person's willing to take care of you while you're sick as fuck.
Right.
And not being able to leave the house, not to go outside, not to do, yeah, it's nuts. But I mean, I don't know how. Like I said, we don't live in North Korea. We don't. I like this.
Yeah, that would not
The
fly
rates.
here.
This statement makes me laugh. It says the rates of divorce are not said to be significantly or said to have significantly dropped, even though citizens are now threatening with public humiliation from Korean work party. See, that's the thing. You're not even getting the humiliation from your family. You're getting it from everyone else now.
Right, right.
You bad
Remember,
people. You no good. You get out of
well,
America. Go to America.
yeah, and like that that's a huge kind of a huge thing um
Certain cultures.
yeah, that shame is
Uh,
the punishment.
yeah.
Shame is the teaching tool. So to speak.
Yeah.
And it's like you know
Yeah. No,
you
Italians are like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it made it to where you were embarrassed, if you were getting a divorce, and
Hmm.
then they made it difficult to get, and let's be honest, if you were an Italian and you were a Roman Catholic Italian, your goal is always to get married in the church.
Yeah.
But they made it to where if you got a divorce, you couldn't get married in a church again unless you got an annulment. You know how hard it is
Yep.
to get an annulment in a Catholic no.
Well, yeah, because when my mom was initially looking to marry my ex stepdad,
Yeah.
they told her that you know she would need to get an annulment, and
Yep.
my mother was like, no. She
Yeah.
because she's like because she felt like that if she got an annulment, then it would be like saying that Ian and I didn't exist. Because
Right.
I,
Right. Right. It's
I've got two
gone.
brothers.
It's wiped out.
Right. And so mom was like, no.
Yeah.
She was like, absolutely not. Now, granted, I think they still allowed the whole
Yeah.
thing to take,
Yeah.
but and I remember because she said that my ex stepdad was pissed off about it that she wouldn't do it, and she said no. She
Yeah.
said she goes, yeah, I should have ran like right then and there, but
Yeah.
she's like no, she's like you two kids exist or from
Yeah. Exactly.
from a different marriage. She's
Hmm.
like she's like no, I would not in good faith feel comfortable going through with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Well, Morgan, look up at the
yeah.
time. We did 2 hours. Morgan's back.
Holy
She's
shit.
back. Yeah, it's two
Back in
hours. Good job,
business.
Morgan.
Back in business.
Yeah. We didn't get all our topics, but we'll add those Yeah, John, you remember how to talk? It's not talking. Gen X has trouble talking. Gen Z can't handwrite. So, no, no kidding. Gen X memory is shitty. Gen Z is getting there because they're doing a lot of drugs. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Gen Z
Yeah.
likes to experiment. I like that though. I think
See,
experimental with microdosing is a thing, people. Microdosing is a thing.
start off small.
Start out
you
small,
know.
work your way up.
Right.
Yeah, we're out of here. We had a great show. Thank you very much, Morgan, for jumping in there and saving the BS show because it could have sucked with just me because I would have got in trouble. I would have said something wrong. But see,
Well,
I need to
thanks for
have
having
I need to
me.
have a female present. So when I'm looking
Yeah.
into the screen and I'm about to say something, I go, the little mouse in there that's running on a wheel. He stops. He hesitates. He goes, John, don't fuck up.
Don't send the woman to the labor camp.
But I did make a few
A
little
few, a few.
yeah. Hey, I am
Just for,
Italian. I'm Italian. What do you want?
good old time's sake,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a place for women in this world.
That's right.
Just
Not just making you a damn sandwich,
yeah,
okay?
it's getting, my mind's getting slower right now. It's at the 2 hour mark. I start to say things that it's not supposed to. But I did get my sexual harassment certificate. So watch
There
out,
you go.
ladies. Watch out, lady. We'll take that. Yes, banger. Sandwich, damn it. Just all Johnny wants. It's right there underneath my name, I think. I think
Hmm.
it says
Yeah.
Johnny just wants a sandwich somewhere. I know it is. It's in there.
I think you got rid. Yeah,
Oh, there
there
it
it
is.
is.
See, John just wants a
Just wants a
sandwich. That's all he
sandwich.
wants. That's all he wants is a sandwich. But we will be back next week, hopefully with everyone and Morgan too. Maybe Morgan will be back with
I
us
gotta
next
work
week.
till
Oh, she's got
8,
to work. She'll be every
so
other week. She'll be
yeah,
every
every other
other week.
week I'll
Every
be
other week.
here.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did. You came on today. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I was
I
actually
know, it's
like
nuts.
going to go back through the shows to see how long it's been since you've been on the show.
Last time, well, let's see. I'm gonna guess probably th 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, at least.
Because it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, I was trying to do I was trying to make it work out. It was virtually impossible to try to get all 10 of us that were in the fantasy football league to be part of the sports show
Oh, yeah.
just so I can gloat of my finally
Yeah.
after 3 years Johnny owns it.
One day it'll be mine.
No,
Here's the
no.
thing. Like, it always pisses me off that, like,
For
every
those out there,
year,
Morgan was close. Morgan was close.
again, I was close.
Yeah.
Every year, I always start out 10th in the, in like the pick, part, of
Yeah.
like the draft. Every year, I start out last, dead
Yeah.
last, and then I get to like number 4,
Yeah.
I get like right in there. I'm right there, and then my team always falls
Yeah. Well, you
apart
gotta stop
every
drafting Green
year.
Bay Packer players. That's the problem.
Never. Never. There are some,
Ah,
I think next year I'm gonna be a little bit more, what's the word?
you gotta draft for the long
Judicious.
run. You gotta
I
draft for the
know.
long run. That's the problem I
My
had
heart's
to
with my
learn.
team.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
had
my
to learn.
problem.
Yeah, no, I had to learn that it's not don't draft for the first 6 games. Draft for game 10, game 11,
The
game
last
12
one, yeah.
because, you want the best running back, but then he doesn't usually make it throughout the
The whole
season.
season, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just about drafting right. And biggest problem Green Bay Packers suck.
Hey,
Yes, the Bears
yeah,
do
no, so
too.
do the Bears. No, I knew that after we lost to the Bears, I knew there was no point in us suiting up
Yeah,
against the Eagles. I knew that there was just no point, but I knew we
yeah,
had to do it anyway.
yeah,
But hey, there's
yeah.
always next year.
All right,
Always next
we
year.
are out of here. Again, thank you, Morgan, for jumping in and helping me out
Thank
today. It
you for
was fun
having
having
me.
you on the show, and it was actually a good conversation, excellent conversation. It just flew
It
by.
was good to be back. Good to be
Yeah.
back. Whatever.
Yeah, they were.
Whatever.
Yeah, they showed up at least.
Yeah.
All right, go Rams. We're out of here. Morgan, look into the camera and say goodbye to everybody.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.